Previously on the What the Hell Is Next podcast.
If I do anything you want me to do, maybe another time, maybe another life, you will be my wife and we'll get it right.
Every time I sit in front of this camera, it's always something. Why? Okay. Hey y'all, welcome back to What the Hell Is Next. Another episode. What are we gonna talk about today? I don't know. Yes, I do. It's right here. I got it. I was a huge people pleaser. I just want to fit in. I wanted to be included, right? Didn't want to be left out, because growing up, I wasn't really left out, but I grew up in a home, or grew up in that generation where a child stays in a child's place, and you know, you only speak when spoken to, and when grown folks talking, you go somewhere and sit down, and they don't do that too much no more. But I grew up then. But what I realized, it left me not being included, right? So what I've learned how to self-regulate in maintaining my emotional maturity is really deciding, is this something I feel like being bothered with? I mean, this is literally just that simple. Like attract like, right? I was emotionally immature, so I attracted emotionally immature men or emotionally immature people. And it was just crazy, just a whole bunch of craziness in that. But that's also because I'm over 50, and when you over 50, let's talk about being over 50, okay? When you over 50 or 50 plus, when I tell you your patience is like thin, you have no patience and no time for foolishness, for low level stuff, just like, it's just crazy. But being very, very, I'm gonna mess this word all up, communicative. I practiced. And just let people know, right? And then conflict style. I don't know if we've, I don't hear about conflict style often, but it's a thing. Conflict style is a thing. So let me look it up right quick. Hold on. Welcome to What the Hell Is Next, the podcast for those of us who thought adulthood came with a manual. We're going to laugh, learn, cuss a little, pray a lot, and figure this thing out one real conversation at a time. I got no more time. All right, this is episode 6 of What the Hell Is Next. I can't believe I'm still going through with this, just so y'all know that. But I am, and we're here. Hi. This episode, we're going to talk about career and calling alignment. And of course, this is something from my experience. I always talk about my experience. And I'm sorry, y'all, I got distracted. That's a big mosquito. Look this way. That's a big mosquito. Career and calling alignment. And of course, all of my episodes usually come from experience. It took a minute for me to really do career and calling and make sure that they aligned. One of the things I had to figure out was, what did I want for my life, right? I had to sit down and say, what do you want your life to look like? We have all had experience. We've all been taught how it should be. Some of us are academically pushed. Some of us are pushed within our families on what we're supposed to strive for as it relates to our career. Some of us didn't get anything, just work and pay your bills, right? And that was a career for you, or that was set for you. Usually in my conversations, when we talk about careers and we'll talk about callings, or we're talking about resources or money, or how you make your money and benefits and all the things, I really take it back to what was said around the dining room table, if anything. Like, what was your example when you were a child? most of us in our cultures did not have examples. Like, I didn't have an example. My mom and my dad worked. And then my dad left the home. My mom was a single mother, and she worked and made sure we had a roof over our head and food and all the things. So we really didn't talk about career and future and 401k and benefits and all the other amazing things. We didn't talk about that. I didn't learn that until late in my 20s, when I started working, moved out on my own, and, you know, went to HR. I didn't know what 401k was. I didn't know that that was like retirement or investment until I started working. Finding out what a career is, I don't even think I really pursued that. Growing up, I learned early on that I could not work for anyone. And I knew I had to work. So I've always said that I had to own my own business, because it was challenging for me to work for anyone. And we'll talk about the revelation I got from that later. I enjoyed what I did. I enjoyed my jobs. I always chose careers and jobs that I knew that I would enjoy. So I thought I wanted to do accounting. I went to a vocational high school, and I thought I wanted to do accounting until I got into accounting and realized how boring it was. I was not interacting with people. It was all numbers. I did accounts receivable and accounts payable. Realized that was not the career for me when I spent the whole day looking out the window at the people catching the bus. And so I decided to change careers because I realized I was more of a people person. Then I got into administrative work, which I enjoyed, you know, front desk, receptionist, answering the phones, clerical stuff, and I really enjoyed supporting people. So that is where I found what my niche was. And I just kept working that and working that and working that. And then I realized that my gift was administration. Not that that was a career, but that was literally a gift of mine. So in my 30s, you know, late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, I said I couldn't do nothing outside of what that was. And I decided that if it did not fall in line into what I enjoyed, I was not doing it. I didn't care how much money I made. I didn't care what it was. It was all about enjoyment for me. And that went back to the fact that I realized early on that I could not work for anyone, that I needed to have my own business. On the flip side, I was not academically interested. I wasn't interested in no degree. I wasn't interested in, you know, getting the master's and doing all the other amazing things that people, you know, enjoy who are academically inclined. I applaud them, but I know that school wasn't for me. Literally, I dropped out of high school and got a GED. Like, I don't have a high school diploma. I dropped out, I got a GED. I got a lot of certificates trying to figure out what I want to do. And I didn't go get my associates until 2015 when I moved to Baltimore. That was like the only time, and that was like, how old am I? 56, 45, 40 some years old getting my associate's degree. But when we talk about career and calling and alignment, in my coaching and talking to people, you know, I mentor people coming out of college. I really, really stress the fact to make sure you're getting a degree in something that you're interested in, and then pursue something that you're interested in. It is 2025, and we don't have the luxury now that we had when I was growing up, like in the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, that we had time, right? We had flexibility to figure it out. Now we really don't. With the way the economic status is, our current administration, you know, unemployment rate, you really don't make, if you really do research, you really don't make as much money with degrees as you would just kind of with experience. I'm 30 plus years in the game, so I got a lot of experience. So having a degree for me where it would be an amazing thing, and I've learned a lot. I graduate actually May 20th with my bachelor's. Whoop, whoop. I've learned a lot, but what I really learned was everything that I did in my positions. I learned the names for them. I learned that there were actually theories to them. I learned structure, but it didn't teach me experience at all because I already had that. But I also brought that to the class, which was amazing to find out that that was a thing. Anywho, stay focused. So this episode, we're really going to talk about career and calling, and how to really begin to think about making sure that it aligns for you, right? And I'm going to share how that works for me. I have an end goal for my life. Like when I'm older and grayer, there was an end. There was something that I desire for that to be. There is an end. I want to leave a legacy for my family. One of my books that I've written, I share the story where, I really don't live a life for myself. I mean, I just don't. I believe that. People can say different, but this is what I believe. I literally believe that I died like my first suicide attempt. So everything after that is my experience is for everyone else, which is why I tell my business, and which is why I share from my heart, because I am literally a vessel to be used. Do I feel? Absolutely. Am I uncomfortable? Most times. Do I get mad? Often. So it's not like I'm emotionless. But I do believe that everything that I do and all the things that I experience is not really for me. It's for everybody that I come in contact with. It's for my family. It's for those that love me and cherish me. It's for those that I love and cherish. Those that have come, under my wing. All the things, everything that I do is for me to be an example for them to share, so that they can have a template to find their way to be successful in life. That's it. So career for me is literally pursuing the things that I desire to do. That's my career. Do I work a 9 to 5? Absolutely. I got a 9 to 5. I got a 5 to 9. I got a 10 to 7. All the things, right? Do I get a W-2? Yes, I do get a W-2 every year. However, I also get a 1099, and I also file other taxes. So I'm pursuing everything. But all of these things ultimately leads up to what I desire the end of my life to be. So my career is to be a professional heart seeker. A professional desire maker, right? Whatever. Nobody can tell me what I can't do. The only thing that hold me up is me, right? Nobody can tell me what I can't accomplish. I've accomplished things that I didn't even know existed for me. I've walked through doors and sat at tables where society says that I should not have walked nor sat because of their standards, right? Because I didn't have a doctorate, so I didn't have a master's. I've met people that I know that I should not be close to. Sometimes I just sit when I'm by myself and kind of thinking about my life and the things that I've experienced and the things that I've overcome and the things that I've accomplished. It's things that I've accomplished that I forgot that I did. The other day I was sitting and I remember that somebody hired me to be a scout for, she was doing a movie, and we literally went around Illinois looking for spaces and houses and buildings that replicated the South so that she could shoot this movie. What was I doing there? I don't even do movies. But then I have a daughter who's a whole director, producer, and things of that sort in nature, right? But this happened long before I even got here. I literally inadvertently was in the Clinton administration, right? I met Hillary Clinton because I was close to a guy that worked in the Clinton administration whose wife walked with Bill Clinton and like logged his day. And we were real close. So all of the political things, who was in there? Me. Working the table, working the front door, saying hi, and meeting people. Like, I think about things like, I have been in some rooms and some places just by being. And so, thinking about that alignment, if it happened then when I wasn't intentional, when I wasn't purposeful, when I didn't have a plan, what can I accomplish now? What can I do now with intention, purpose, and a plan? My current 9-to-5 works for me. They'll probably have to fire me because they work, right? The benefits are amazing. They don't micromanage. I hope ain't nobody watching. They don't micromanage. As long as I show up and do my work and have an answer, I'm pretty much good, right? It's an easy job for me, right? It's a hybrid job, so I can work from anywhere, as long as I get the stuff done. So I'm allowed to do other things, right? I'm allowed to write other books or facilitate other workshops. But that was very strategic, and that was very purposed. Can I go somewhere else and make more money? Absolutely. I recently met someone in Baltimore County that I have a meeting with, right? That could potentially turn into something if that was what I wanted. Could I do that? Absolutely. But because I have a purpose, a plan, and my calling and career are aligned and it doesn't fit, I'm not going to pursue it unless I'm led to pursue it, right? Unless God tells me to. Because another thing I am is obedient to the best of my ability. I always don't do it at the first nudge, but it will not be 3 nudges because I don't play with him like that. I'll give him 2. Like 2 nudges. Come that second nudge, I know he's serious. I'll be like, okay. And then I go head on and make it happen, whatever it is I'm supposed to make it happen. So this episode is really to kind of get you to thinking about, there's several questions. Is there a difference between your career and your calling? And do you think it should be aligned? If so, how? If not, why? Because the reality is your career, your calling, all comes from you. You're the common denominator. And if they're fragmented, then you're fragmented. That was another thing that I realized. Why wasn't none of this stuff I had planned working for me? Well, the reality was I was all over the place. And I was all over the place in character, right? I was this person here, or I showed up this way here, and I showed up that way there, right? Most people call it schizophrenia. No, I'm just kidding. Scattered. All over the place. That is a little off, though. Maybe I need to talk to a psychiatrist. I never explored talking to a psychiatrist. That might be a thing. I know. You on my channel. Okay? You don't like it? Click off. But not before you hit like and share. Then you get to know. Anywho. Right. Y'all know I go on these rants. We in episode 6. Anything's about to come out this mouth. Okay? Don't charge it to my heart. Charge it to the fact that I'm tired. I'm tired today. But I showed up anyway. Talking about career calling and alignment. Apparently I'm off. I'm out of alignment. It ain't even connected. Focus. This might be a blooper. Yeah, we're going to separate this because this didn't fit into nothing. Anyway, making sure that your calling and your career aligns for you, right? Again, identify what a career is. Let's look up some definitions that I thought I had on here. Usually when we hear career, we think of career as related to work. But this definition that I found that I really like is a career is a long-term journey of job, professions, and roles a person pursue, often with the focus on advancement, skill development, and personal fulfillment. Even though it said a long-term journey of jobs, it did not say work to me. So you have, like when we talk, or I used to watch movies, right? And they have like career thieves, right? Or you have career liars, like anything that's long term to me. This is what the definition says. That often focuses on advancement, skill development, and personal fulfillment. So whatever you deem, or outside of work, whatever you see career as, I would challenge you to really identify what that looks like. You have career moms, like stay-at-home moms, right? And that's all they do. You have career stay-at-home dads that stay at home. You have career of caretakers, right? And it's not easy, but it's something that they do long term, right? It's a long term journey. For my final project for school, we had to do a vision board, and the categories was education, career, professional life, self-care, and networking. And for career, for me, I had my books, I had workshops, I had my facilitations, I had whatever I developed, right? I had my lipstick line, like all of those things I had on there for me, where other people had like what they wanted to pursue as work. If they wanted to advance to CEO, or owning their own house for substance abuse, or whatever it is. I challenge you to think about what career looks like for you, but I also challenge you to think about what it looks like outside of working for someone else. That is where you're going to find out what your calling is, and that is where you can find alignment. And just make sure that you are being intentional and setting a plan to make sure these two things merge together. It's very, very important. Again, talking about me, I don't think we have time like we used to. Like we don't have time to figure it out. There's an urgency that I feel often of getting things done, or making it stuff happen, or showing up, or finishing, right? And not because I'm 56. Not that kind of urgency, but the way that the world is shifting and the way that things are happening, there isn't time. Like time is literally running out. And what that looks like for everybody is totally different. But to really, really think about, like we ain't got the time to get it right. Whatever that looks like, right? I'll do my best, yes, always. But get it right is subjective. What is right? And who said that there was a right and a wrong? Anybody knows me knows that's one of my pet peeves too. It's just is or isn't. It's comfortable or uncomfortable. I don't really think that there's a right or a wrong, because people do what they want to do according to what they believe is best for them, and I can't judge that for their lives. So I don't believe in right or wrong. So yeah, this was a very rantful episode, but I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you showed up to hear me talk about it. And I do want to challenge you to really, really evaluate what career and calling is for you. Let's talk about calling. I'll talk a little bit about career. My calling. Ciao. I don't even want to know where to start. I think my calling is, I don't know. And it ain't all spiritual, right? Because when we talk about our spiritual callings, I realize, and my revelation is that it ain't even a calling. It's just who you are. You know, it'd be like, well, I'm called to do this. Well, I'm called to do that. No, that's part of your character. You were created to do this and created to do that. When I think about my calling, I think my calling really is to, you know, help people see truth and reality, even though it may hurt. But do it in a way that is compassion filled so that they can heal. That's a tagline. Compassion filled so that they can heal. Compassion filled so they can heal. Oh, it do. I mean, you know, I am a little rough. I do know that. So I try to come back and smooth it out. Sometimes. Maybe. I probably don't. I done lied. I done lied. But they know I don't do it to hurt their feelings on purpose. I'm not malicious. Yes. I do not. She's frowning. I do not. She's just sensitive. And she's stubborn, so she get it through. That's a whole nother episode. I'm going to talk about my kids. One episode. All of them.
It should have been today.
And it should have been today. Because I had to be a mother today. I had to show up today. I love those moments, though. That is a call. Let's talk about that calling. How I'm a mother with no kids? Who called me? Hello? Yes, this is she. A mother? I ain't got no kids. Literally. Okay, so let's talk about that. Yes, I answered the phone because motherhood was calling. So I was pregnant a couple of times. I will say that. I was pregnant twice. I was pregnant once. Yeah, I was pregnant twice. Once was self-terminated, had an abortion. The second time I had what's called a spontaneous abortion because I knew that I was pregnant, but on my way to the doctor, my body rejected the fetus. And I don't think I was pregnant ever since. I don't know. Because, you know, I realized sometimes you could be pregnant and don't know that you're pregnant. And if you have a very heavy flow with clots, 8 times out of 10 you were pregnant. That's what the doctor told me. But your body just rejected the embryo because it's a foreign object and the embryo didn't attach. So most women have probably been pregnant more times than what they think they were. I just knew that I was, so that's what made it a difference for me. So I did not get pregnant after that I know of. And I had to resolve that it could be a possibility that I won't have biological children. And it was kind of rough for me, but I decided to live my life anyway because I had nieces and nephews. So it wasn't like I was going to be without children, but I just wasn't going to bear any of my own. Until, I don't know where these I got grown kids, like they 30 and up. Almost 40. Like literally, they're my children. You wouldn't think that I didn't have kids at this age. And they all have, or all are a part of me. Like each and every one of them, like has my characteristic. It's really weird. But it's absolutely amazing. I would not trade it for the world. Now, do they get on my nerves? It's a couple of them that irk me. She's behind the camera. It's one of them. But I know. She's spoiled, though. That's her problem. And part of it is my fault. She came to me spoiled, but I think she's spoiled up. She's spoiled up.
And this.
See?
Yeah.
But they all have my DNA. They all have like my characteristic. Like when I see them, I see me in them. So it's like me mothering myself. which is really amazing. So when we talk about callings, motherhood for me would be a calling. Even though it didn't start it off that way, or the way that it was supposed to be, right? How nature says we should be a mother is to literally give birth through our womb, like, conceive and grow in 9 months. Oh my God, I feel the baby kicking. Oh. And then your contractions, and then all of a sudden it's so beautiful. He has a steady eyes and all this other things. That didn't happen like that for me. That didn't happen. However, I do have amazing children that I love, and I couldn't nobody tell me that I want. It's so bad I be wanting to beat up their mom. Because these my kids. And I mean jump on them. It's bad. Y'all pray for me. Y'all pray for me. It's bad. So when we talk about calling, I would say that that would be one of my callings. Even though it was always in me, because everywhere I go, they want me to be their mama. My kids don't play that. But I'm mama rush everywhere. Everywhere I go, I have a mothering tenderness. Tenderism. Motherism. I have a mother attribute to it that I would definitely say is a calling for me. I would identify that as a calling. Yeah. Which means it definitely has to align with my career of doing all the things, because I have to set a legacy and I have to be the example of all people. So it is important for me, and this is what I will leave with you as we wrap up this episode. Just begin to identify what your career and your calling is. Google the definitions, find the definitions. I'm a definition person, and I usually find the definitions that hit here. Find a definition for you outside of work as it relates to career, and outside of church as it relates to calling, because there's so much more to you. And make sure that you begin to merge those two and that they're aligned, so that you can be fulfilled and successful and at peace and have contentment. Sprinkle of happiness. Whole lot of moolah chachis. Be able to do all the things. Moolah chachis. That's money. That's no money. I don't know how to speak Spanish. Moolah. I added chachis. What's chachis? It's probably some food or something, because I'm hungry. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode, because y'all know we don't know what the hell is next. Anything. And I'll see you next month.